Welcome back to the Part-Time Creator series, and today we're going to be talking about equipment, setup, anything you need to buy to be able to create a part-time personal brand online. And what I really want to emphasize with this part of the series is that none of this is essential, because part-time content creation or your part-time personal brand, it does not actually have to be sitting in front of a camera and posting talking head videos. Content creation is literally just that. It's content creation. So whether that's you literally writing text posts for your blog, writing a newsletter, posting pictures of your everyday life on Instagram, posting little videos on TikTok, you don't need anything that I'm going to recommend in this video to do that. However, I love a little bit of tech and a little bit of cameras, microphones, lighting. I really like it. I really enjoy it. I like making videos and content that looks nice because I like to consume content like that as well. So take all of the recommendations I make in this video with a pinch of salt. But I also will be giving you the tips, tricks, and hacks to also maintain that professionalism at a very low cost for building your personal brand and actually being able to show your authority and expertise in a way that comes across professional and put together online, because I think that's really important as well. So my main thing with content creation, especially when we're talking about video or like visual things, I'm not really talking about like written pieces of content creation here, but I think that lighting and sound is two of the best ways to make things that look nice. So for example, all of this it's a nice 4K video, right? Except if it was not a 4K video, if it was a lower quality video, the lighting and the sound and the lights back there, those are the things that make this video look better. It's not necessarily the pixels on the screen, right? The pixels are just nice. They're like a cherry on the cake. So what I have learned over the years through trial and error is that if there are these nice like little side lights on in the background, your videos just tend to look nicer. And I've really noticed that with short form as well. So with TikTok, I will usually record my TikTok videos using my phone on this kind of stand, which is just another kind of like phone stand I've got on Amazon. I'll put it here and position it right underneath my light, which is set up like this above me here. And if I'm actually recording this video, so you can now see on the screen that I'm trying to record this video, this little light that's behind a curtain, a fake curtain that I've put up in the background, it just makes this look so much nicer. So if I turn this off, I just think it looks a bit like dead and less nice, like less put together. It still looks great, but I think that having a little light in the background always adds that little bit of extra dimension, and I think it really works for these YouTube videos. So I have a little paper lamp here that I absolutely adore. This lamp, it's from Habitat, so from Argos. It's super inexpensive, but I just think I like kind of like working with that one as well. It's just a really nice video. But I also use really cheap like wired lights to just hang in the background of my videos, and those are just plug-in lights, so they're not those LED. They are LED, but they're not those like colorful ones, because I kind of like the warm tones of this setup. But another great alternative is just, your normal lamps with a warm bulb in them, and propping those up in the background somewhere, and then having one or two key lights. So a key light is like the main light that lights you up. Those are the things that I think really matter. So for example, without the key, so I'll turn one of my key lights off. It's kind of dead. And I'll turn this is actually my table lamp. I'll turn that off. It's actually super, super dark, but it's actually really easy to make things kind of look a lot more put together, and like it was super intentional. And this kind of gives me a studio vibe without necessarily having to be a studio. And in the wintertime, it's actually just nice to work with all of these lights on as well. Another really good sound hack. So I use the Blue Yeti mic to get all my audio, and then I record that using voice memos on my MacBook, and then I just align the files when I'm editing. But another alternative, which I have honestly used for years, is a cheap wired mic. So this was literally like £5 or £6 when I bought it, and I have used it for years because it's so reliable, because it's wired. I have bought the wireless ones and they break. I bought 2 pairs of wireless mics, and they always break. So I just stopped relying on them because I use this when I'm traveling, and then I just buy a adapter that you can just attach to the mic, and then you can use it with your phone, and then you can also plug it into your computer as well, so that you can record good quality audio wherever you are. And this is good quality audio because it's got a little clip in, so you can just attach it if you want to talk, or if I'm on the go, I can just attach it to my iPhone. You can also just use your iPhone as a microphone. It's actually a really good microphone. So you don't even need to spend money on a Blue Yeti, because this itself, I used some Nectar points to buy this at the time. So it ended up only being about 50 or 60 pounds, but they retail for like up to 120, depending on what color you want to get. So mics themselves can be expensive, but if you go for like just your average normal table lamps, pop them in the background, use your iPhone as a microphone, or buy a really cheap wired like lavalier mic, you're good to go for very minimal investment. So sound and lighting, I think, are the 2 key things to make videos look nice. But if we want to think about a proper, level 1, maybe more budget setup, I really recommend either starting with your iPhone, because most iPhones are really good. It's literally 4K quality video, and I feel like this is really good lighting. Like, it's really good quality for if the iPhone was literally like propped up here and I was talking into the mic, it would be great. And it would serve the purpose it needs to serve, which is just good quality content. The other thing I do recommend also is the Osmo. So I invested in the Osmo Pocket 3 before it was trending. Just want to say that. And I friggin' love it for 2 main reasons. Quality is insane. Look at this quality. It's literally amazing. If I was actually using this to record my YouTube video, I think that this would be like just a great quality video, because it's picking up the lighting really well. You can record in like a D-Log as well, so that allows you a lot of power when you're actually trying to edit and things like that. The top feature of this for me is the fact that I use it on the go, and it's so inconspicuous. Like, it's such a small camera, so without any of the casings and stuff on it, it's tiny. Like, this is the camera, this is my hand. It's tiny, and it captures such high quality content for the size, and you can add all of these things onto it as well. So for example, for the gym especially, I have this like magnetic case, which means I could just prop it onto literally anything in the gym. I have a magic arm, which I will touch on in terms of like accessories that I also recommend for traveling and things like that, but it's just so customizable for on the go travel and content creation that I think it's a really handy camera to invest into if you want to invest into another camera. And then the other final thing that I would invest into for like a setup like this is a panel key light for your like main light. And this is what it looks like. It's an actual panel. And the reason I actually recommend a panel over potentially like a ring light or something like that is just because I don't know what it is, but I don't like the look of ring lights in cameras or on footage. And I've experimented with ring lights before, and they just seem so not powerful. Whereas this key light, like, I can change the brightness of it. It goes up quite bright actually, which is like too much. I can also change the warmth, so I can make it super cool and then also super warm. The cool just makes me feel like I'm in a hospital. And I also have a table lamp here. So my table lamp is an actual table lamp, and I actually just like, I will use it, and like when I'm filming videos, I will tilt it to face me. And if I'm not filming a video, it's just like a nice little table lamp. So that is the setup that I recommend. iPhone, Osmo, a key light or 2 key lights, one of them being a panel light, like an LED panel light, and then having like a nice little source of light in the background to kind of just, the best way I can describe it is like zhuzh things up. I am not professional. I don't know if you can tell by the way I'm talking about all of these things, but these are the things that I've realized work from just trial and error, trying to find a setup that I think looks nice on camera. Now the level 2 setup, which is kind of essentially what I have, which is a little bit more costly, but I absolutely just don't think it's essential at all. I've only got these items because I've always had cameras and always had an interest in cameras long before I started YouTube. So I have always been interested in like upgrading them and getting cool lenses and pieces of tech and things like that. So what I did end up getting is a Canon camera. So it's an actual DSLR that I'm being filmed on right now, and it's the Canon M6 Mark II, and it's literally just like your average camera, and it has a Sigma 16mm f1.4 lens on it. And the reason I like this lens is because it's super wide, so it captures like a lot of the background. So if you go back to the first few videos that I posted on my YouTube channel, I used to film on a 50mm lens. And you guys, I wish I took a video of it, but I had to prop my camera like across the room and then sit across the room and then hope that like I was in focus, and I was recording the audio on my phone at the time because I was so far away from the camera. It was impossible to actually get the mic to link up to me. And that's because 50mm lenses are like really like short. So if I'm standing here, things are really, really zoomed in, where 16 means that I'm getting a huge amount of the background while I'm sitting just at my desk and the camera is right in front of me, as you can see from like literally the setup. I also got a lens with the f-stop number 1.6. So that means it's got a wide aperture, which just means that the lens essentially like lets more light in, which means it's able to create this like blurry background and you get a better looking video. And I just like that because I think it looks a bit more professional, but you can change that. So I could put the f-stop number up and not have such a blurry background, but I purposefully put the f-stop number really low so that the background does get blurry. So actually, if I was sitting really far away from everything behind me, it would be super blurry. So for example, me putting my hand here, you see how blurry the background got? And then if I come back to me, it's back in focus and then the background is a bit more blurry. So the closer you are to the camera, the more blurrier the background is. And I just think it looks nicer. And also it looks so much nicer for like photography and stuff as well. And the lighting is the exact same setup. So I've always had like 2-ish lights either slightly in front of me, or like now I have 2 because I have my table lamp, 1 on either side, and then like little like kind of medium small light in the background. This is a slightly more expensive setup because the camera is expensive, the lens is expensive, you have to get an adapter because Sigma is a different manufacturer from Canon. So all the little costs for this one add up. Then I actually also have a Rode Video Micro phone on the camera itself, but I don't use that anymore because I don't sit close enough to the camera for the microphone to pick up my audio without the echo of the room. So that's why I use my Blue Yeti, which is hooked up via a little, what's it called? Like a table tripod, a table boom or a boom arm. It's hooked up to a boom arm and I'm able to just record my video separately, and it's just better quality because I do a podcast as well and I do podcast interviews and things like that. And it's just nicer to have the setup here that I can just put away and pull out whenever I need. Now, let's move on to the hacks, tips, and tricks and things that I think are like clever ways to use the kit you already have, for especially if you're wanting to build a personal brand part-time and you don't really want to invest into all these different things because, truth be told, as I said, you don't need them. So the first thing is a mini HDMI cable so that you can plug in either your camera into your MacBook and use your camera as a webcam, which is really useful for if you're ever doing things like podcast interviews or anything that involves you having to join a call and record yourself or someone else recording you. I always use my camera as the webcam, and it just is more professional looking than me looking down into my actual webcam with like a blurry background, like typical Zoom call vibes. I just think it's nicer to have my camera. But if you didn't know that you could do it with your iPhone as well, here is a hack. So you can actually, if you just use a USB-C to lightning bolt cable, you can actually just plug in your iPhone into your MacBook. And when you go into QuickTime, you just need to select the source as your iPhone, prop up your iPhone, and you can use your iPhone as a separate webcam to the actual webcam on your laptop. If you didn't know you could do this, it's a lifesaver, especially for if I'm doing like interviews or podcasts when I'm traveling. Having my iPhone as a separate camera is just a really nice way to just have a nice higher quality feed of me that's going into whatever is being recorded. And the exact same thing can be done for your microphone as well. So I plug in my Blue Yeti to my MacBook and record audio separately. You can also, when you go into QuickTime, you can separately select your camera source and also your microphone source. So if you plug in a separate mic, even the cheap lavalier mic, you can actually select this as a source, prop it up into your t-shirt or wherever it is you want your audio to come from. And you can have a video and microphone setup that is completely independent of your actual MacBook, giving you a way more professional setup most of the time. So those are some little hacks I like to use when I'm traveling especially. And for traveling, I have a little kit of things that I like to take with me. The first thing is your SD card to Lightning or iPhone adapter. So this allows me to just take things directly from my camera or my Osmo and pop them into my iPhone and get editing if I'm on the go. I also never travel without a little SanDisk micro SD converter or micro SD adapter so that I'm always able to actually access the files that are on the Osmo, because the Osmo works with a micro SD card, whereas my Canon camera works with an SD card. So like the SD is the bigger one, the micro SD is like the tinier one. And then this is the adapter for the tinier one. I always travel with a little MacBook adapter so that I can always put extra things into my MacBook. My Osmo Pocket 3 is my chosen camera for traveling these days. It's just so easy for actually creating content. However, for holidays and things where I'm actually going to be, maybe doing water sports, or I actually want to create like intentional, like nice videos, I've also got my GoPro, I think GoPro 11, and also my DJI Mini 4 Pro drone. Alongside my Canon M6 Mark II, I also have a 16mm pancake lens. So it's a much smaller lens with a slightly less wide aperture. So it's not as blurry, but it's really nice, but it's super flat. So I don't travel with this camera because this lens is massive. Because it's so wide, it's way too much for me to travel with. Personally, I just don't like having to whack that out every time I want to take a video. So I have a much smaller lens, which makes it feel much more like a G7X, and kind of looks like a G7X with that as well. I will also travel with a tiny tripod just in case, and that's for iPhone with a little converter for the Osmo. The magic arm for the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 is awesome because you can literally just attach the Osmo anywhere and get really cool angles wherever you go. This one would be a really cool one to take to the gym as well. Like I said, the wired mic with the converter for the jack to Lightning, that's awesome and such a good like fallback to have when you're traveling. The DJI Osmo mic I also travel with, just because I did actually get the creator combo kit, which comes with the mic, a charging battery handle, a little tripod as well. So it's actually really good value for money investing into this little piece of kit. Wired headphones with the adapter. So the reason I do headphones with the adapter is so that I can plug them into my MacBook and also my iPhone if I need to edit on either device. It gives me flexibility. And then the final thing I travel with, and all people will tell you to travel with, is the hard drive. So my external hard drive, I love the Samsung T7 Shield. It's a super reliable one. I've got loads of them, and I do not go anywhere without a hard drive. So that is a tour of my setup and a list of things that I think are essential for you to be able to create great content at hopefully quite an affordable price. Because honestly, the trick with lighting, so the key lights with the little softer lights in the background and having high quality audio, I think that's just key. You don't need to invest into aesthetic backgrounds or cool lights. I think you just need to be strategic about where you're placing certain things. I will link absolutely everything that I've mentioned in the description below and also on my Amazon storefront, just because pretty much every single thing I've got is either from Amazon or like a specific tech shop or camera shop. And I hope that helps. But remember what I said. This is not a hump or a way for you to put off creating content. This is just a way to elevate your presence, and maybe just make it easier for you to actually create content and stay consistent with it. So bearing that in mind, I will see you in the next part of this series for part-time content creation, and I hope this helped.